Good evening, viewers, and good morning, viewers. Sorry. And I'm Gerry Mcfarlane, the host of this program. And of course, this is Beneath the Surface, and coming to you from Tobago Updates. This is the second edition of this program. We had this program was aired last year, and this is now season 2. After the second year of the Tobago members of the Tobago House of Assembly being elected. So Beneath the Surface is a program just designed to, we will be interviewing every member of the Tobago House of Assembly and letting them tell it like it is, and even getting below the surface, or beneath the surface. And we will like all these guests, all those persons who will be coming on the program, which include the assistant secretaries, the secretaries, chief secretary, even the presiding officer, the minority leader, and their councillors, will be taking part, and most of them have agreed to take part and to be a part of this program, and let the public get to see a light or a different side of them, and not the part that deals with the picong and the confusion and the bacchanal. Today we want to take a little lighter side and also touch on some of the serious issues that some of these members will want to highlight. Some of their personal life, some of their other issues or other interesting things that they may be involved in. So I'm happy today and real pleased to have the first interview with Megan Morrison, Assemblyman for Mount St. George, Goodwood. And she's the Assistant Secretary, Tourism, Culture, Antiquities, and Transportation. Ms. Morrison, thanks for coming and thanks to be part of this interesting program.
Good morning, Mr. Mcfarlane. It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning, Tobago. And a special good morning to my electoral district of Mount St. George, Goodwood. And let me hasten to add that district is not 2 villages, as some people say, Mount St. George and Goodwood. It's not. My district starts at Bacalet Park on the highway there. So it's Bacalet Park, John Dial, Hope, Mount St. George, Goodwood, and a small piece of Goldsboro.
What a thing. I never knew that before. I just thought you were just a little after Hope or somebody, but I didn't do my research quite well. But I'm glad you said that. I must say that you look quite well this morning.
Thank
and I
you.
can't believe that the makeup team did such a good work. Maybe this thing come naturally for you, eh?
The makeup team is myself today.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it was so nice to be here.
Yes.
But tell us first to begin. How did you get involved in the politics? What caused you to be involved in the politics, to become a member of the Assembly, to be considered a candidate first, and to become a member of the Assembly?
Actually, in my case, it goes way before that. I always had a passion for politics, not intentionally. I grew up in a household that was very political. Even before voting age, I would go with my grandparents from meeting to meeting across the island. And it's during that time I developed a passion for, the political part of it. But nevertheless, I've always been in service life from a tender age. And as I become involved in the different political spheres, because I was part of a different political organization prior to this one, I guess people saw the potential in me, and I've been approached several times before this era to be a part of the politics. I agreed on this occasion, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that sounds quite interesting. You'll start off a movie if you ask me. But what things were like? I got the impression from people I talked to in the community, in the constituency or the district as legally called. I talked to 1 or 2 people from there. I made a quick dash through there yesterday, and people seem to be saying that you're well embedded, quote unquote, in the community. Why do they have to say that? You're so in control or doing so many things in the community?
Well, I've always been a part of the community. I was involved in heritage as a performer. I've done social work in the community. So this just was a natural progression. I have done a lot in my community since prior to taking office and as a result of me being in office. For example, I will start with I have an annual book drive, a back to school drive. That started before I took office, right? It started with me requesting used books from the general public and then giving to the persons it need. It started during the pandemic period. And
So that
subsequently,
just before the election,
yes,
which was in 2021.
right. So this was 2019.
Oh, yes.
I'm
Okay.
2020, I believe. Yes. And that's how it started. And people gave generously and so on of the used school books. But subsequently, I started purchasing books. And it has grown to the point where I get requests from the entire island. Do you have books remaining? Do you still have books? So during that period as well, and that was during the August holiday period, I collaborated with Visual Optical, and they did eye testing for the children and all of that. So those are some of the initial initiatives I did as representative and prior to being area representative that continue to today.
And I understand you did work in the community or maybe outside of the community promoting Queen shows and planning these
Oh
events and
yes,
so on.
well,
That was long before the THA
yeah,
appointment or election?
long years before that. I have a passion for competition, not just Queen shows, but Queen show may be the one that I will hold in high regard. I've been doing this because I was a member of the village council. I'm in this probably about 15 plus years in terms of Queen show and pageantry and so on. And also I can say as part of the division I've been involved in, I've been at Education and Sport and Youth Affairs before taking office, and Sandy Hall. Sandy Hall is where I started. I have been entrenched in my
I got a report from
division.
somebody who worked with you at Sandy Hall, and she was in such high praises for you, I tell you.
Yes, I'm very involved in my division. I take whatever I do seriously, right? I would always boast that I've never gotten a bad appraisal. And that is because I was passionate about my work. Still, I'm passionate about anything I do, any topic. Once I decide I'm doing something, I'm doing it, and my aim is to do it well.
So you go about recruiting help to do some of these events and that sort
Yes,
of thing, or
and
people
even
just
to
volunteer,
that too,
or you volunteer them?
I do volunteer them at times, but they do come on board. And I can say now that I'm in this space that I am now, I see where, you build relationship and network and so on. So to this day, I can still call on some of those people. I need a help here. And they would readily come because they know that they have built such a good relationship with me over the years. I must say I'm a no-nonsense person. I'm a straight shooter. So they know directly where I'm coming from. I don't beat around the bush with people. If something offend me, I will talk about it. I will say it. And that has not changed, right? My colleagues can attest to that. I'm a straight shooter. So we have people who I had a former supervisor who used to call me a gang leader. So for example, if I
In a
decide,
positive way, right?
yes. So if I decide this is how we going, the whole movement is this is how we going. For example, I was at the Division of Sports and Youth Affairs, and we had a competition coming up. I think maybe Blue Day. This is the Friday before Blue
Blue
Food.
food.
And the team and I.
Oh yes, I remember those days.
Yes,
Yeah.
so the
That
team.
has stopped for a while.
No, it was here this year as well.
Okay.
And the team and I decide, well, this is what we're going with. This is the theme we're going with. We printed jerseys for everyone. We were there at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, putting up decorations and all of that. Of course, we won the competition. But I'm just saying that to say, to this day, those same people I can call and ask to help with anything, and they are there. Right? So I think I've built a good working relationship with people in the past, and I'm just passionate about whatever it is I do.
Someone told me that you have a company or something like that, or group that deals with kind of personal development and
Yes,
thing in
that's
the
of the
arts
young
and so.
ladies. So when I have a personality under my wing, in my mind, I tell that person, your only concern is to practice your talent. I am there with you to practice as well, but that's your only focus. The other stuff, leave that to me. So I will write to sponsors. I will ensure that everything is in place for that personality. You need to learn to walk properly. You learn to speak properly, and you do all of that on a daily basis leading up to competition. So you're on stage from the moment you decide you're in this competition, your mentality has to change. So I help with that developmental side of that person until competition and after, because I read some of them today that, thank me so much and still remember that I was tough on them, but they saw the result at the end of that.
You seem to have the ability to collaborate and to inspire and motivate people and control
I
people.
think so.
Where you got that from? That came naturally, or you were
I
trained
think
in
that
that
came
area?
naturally. I think that came naturally.
And you did a program. I was checking your bio, and you did a program with the Australian University or the University of Australia. Was it
The
that?
Australian Institute of Business through CTS College is where I earned my master's degree in marketing. I can say it's from doing the program at Tobago Hospitality and Tourism is where I realized I have a passion for marketing, because on the different modules I did at THTI, marketing was one of them, and we had to do this water project, how we can bring alternative water to the island. And it's from then, my colleagues tell me and my friends tell me I'm a little extra. So I went all
Extra
out.
mean extra ambitious?
I think so. I don't like ordinary. So you find we decided to do truck-borne water, and we say futuristically we'll do bottled water, but we actually created labels and all of that for this product that will soon, Water in Sense Limited would have been the name of the company. We would have challenged WASA and all of our, of course the team got a grade A, but how we presented and the research that went into it, that is when I realized I had a passion for marketing, and I went on to study at the Australian Institute of Business through CTS College to earn my master's degree.
Tell us a bit. I don't want us to prolong this part, but tell us how you made out going to Trinidad and traveling to and fro and doing this program.
That was an
I thought the program would have
experience.
been online, but you said no.
Not
You had to.
No,
You
it
had to
was a
go physical.
it was a face-to-face program. Online only came about as a result of the pandemic, really. But in my time, this was 16 into 17. I had to travel to Trinidad every weekend. Every weekend, I was taught so much in that period. Sometimes I get emotional about it. This was during the time where we had one vessel, and I had to depend on the kindness of the port authority sometimes. I had to go down on the cargo boat, and this is where I gained a level of compassion for the truckers, because I would have to go down with them most nights. Hear they're snoring, if you hear these snores, because they're so tired, and they have to come off the boat and then go to drop off goods and come back. So I was a part of that experience. When the boat drifted, I was on it. I got left in Trinidad several times. I had at one time Miss Nori was my supervisor, and they would say I would have to call on Miss Graham. I'd have to call to say, well, I'm stuck in Trinidad, and they were compassionate with me. Of course, when I came back, I made up my time with my work by working into the night, right? So my work didn't suffer as a result of me having to
Spend
back
some
and
day in
forth
Trinidad or
between
so.
the islands and so on. There are times when I have exams on a Thursday, and finance being what it is, if I go down Thursday, me ain't coming back. I staying for the Saturday and Sunday class. So all those time I missed, I made up. I never had work pile up on my desk. And I am happy to say that I contributed to the development of my division and subsequently my island as a result of me being diligent at my work at the office.
Yeah. Okay, that is so nice. I really wanted to hear this story again and from you. I've been hearing it from some of your former peers and so on. And I couldn't believe it. I felt they were doing a little to boost your ego a little bit, you know, but hearing it from you, I really feel convinced that you really made a valuable contribution in the public service while you were working there as a public servant.
On contract, nonetheless.
On contract, yeah.
I must point that out.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now, how you feel you've been representing the people of Goodwood, Monk St. George Goodwood? What do you feel as a representative?
I feel good. I feel humbled that they would entrust their lives and livelihood to me, and I don't take that lightly. I have some young people in my district who voted for the very first time for me. And so I always keep that to the back of my head. This is why I make an extra effort to be in my district. You know, I don't always get to attend office day, but I make up for that in some other way. Either I do it another day, or I will reach out in my community. There are days when the team and I will decide that we are going to this particular village. We have done John Dial, Hope, Goodwood in recent times. So the Monk St. George, you are next in terms of walking to see, get to touch base with the people. Although we did do part of Monk St. George, that #1 Village Street, because there is a project that the villagers have clamored for, which is the widening of #1 Village Street. And, you know, we know that every area wouldn't be able to get widened, but we reached out as a team. My staff went out and they solicit signatures from every household as to their agreement to have this road widened, and even give up a little piece of their land if that comes to it. We also want to rename that street in honor of Royal Titus. So we, my staff went.
That's the same street he was on?
Yes, higher up.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, that is why in tribute to him we want to do that. So we did a petition, if for want of a better word, and got signatures, contact numbers, and so on for that, to show that they are involved and they are in agreement with having this process done. We hand that over to the Secretary of Works, and we are waiting the next step.
But you have to follow up with them.
Oh, yes, definitely, all the time.
All right. Megan, we're going for a quick break, and when we come back, we continue to chat with you and to ask you how you feel, how this thing affected your personal life when you come back. Yeah. Okay, we're back, folks. Continue chatting with Assemblyman Megan Morrison, and we want to chat, as we were saying before, you know, how this thing has affected your private life, being an elected member of the Tobago House of Assembly.
Being an assemblyman means that you are working around the clock. You don't get an off day, right? I was also not prepared for calls 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. That is one of the things that I wasn't prepared for. And surprised that, you know, people reach out at those hours. But I guess it comes with the territory. And so we have to learn to adapt, right? So, yeah, I think you have to learn to adapt. But the work, people expect you to be at every function. So I get that comes with the job as well. So I realize we don't.
Great demand on your time.
Yes, I realize, and especially maybe because of the field I am in, I am called on all the time to attend, you know, various functions and so on. And I realize some people even get offended if for some reason you can't appear or whatever. But it is part of the job.
So sometimes it prohibits your rest time and all that sort of
all
thing.
All the time. Sometimes a lot of people always, Megan, how do you do it? You are on the go all the time. I guess I was built.
Just imagine what used to happen in my days when we didn't have cell phone. Cell phone just came in around the time when I was coming out to the assembly. you know,
Yes.
but it should be easier now because you could communicate more, you
Yes,
know.
it's just a high demand on your time.
Yeah.
That's the
But how
truth.
satisfied are you with the level of collaboration among your peers and colleagues in the Tobago House of Assembly? You find that there's a good level of collaboration and sincerity and willing to help one another?
I think
Or
we
there's
have
room for improvement?
there's always room for improvement. And I think I have a team that mesh well. There's, of course, some more than some because there are persons you can call on at the drop of a hat and they would mobilize to help. Like Notsi is one of those persons. And I dare say he was the one that when we took office, I think was in March of 2022, we had a district tour where Works Department the Secretary of Works will come to see what are the needs in your community and so on. And
Oh,
it
really?
happened so that person for me was Joel. The secretary was unavailable at the time. So Joel was the one, Mr. Sampson is the one that went on my district tour. And so you get a better appreciation of what my village entails. Not that the secretary doesn't, but Joel will understand what my immediate needs are. And Joel is someone you can call on all the time and get
Yeah. That
results.
is really true, boy. That is really true.
Yes,
That
all
boy,
the
yeah, that,
time.
that assemblyman. You
Right.
see that
Dr.
boy.
Faith as well is one of those persons. I don't want to pinpoint persons, but my needs for my community
Rest a lot with their responsibility.
yes, yes. So I think the team works well together. There's always room for improvement, but the different division requires each division require a different type of mobilization or whatever. So I think I do have cooperation from the team. Of course, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah. After 2 years, approaching 2 years in office, you must have had some challenges or some pain points, as I like to call them sometimes. How you deal with some of these challenges that you encounter?
From a divisional
Yeah,
perspective,
from
or
a divisional,
all
from your
right.
responsibility as assistant secretary in
That
the
is a
division.
little difficult one. So, my responsibility is culture and antiquities, really. And I'm the assistant secretary of the division. I think sometimes the position of assistant secretary is overlooked, right? And it's nothing intentional or anything like that because the law doesn't provide for the assistant secretary to have any authority really. It lies in the hands of the secretary. So I might be passionate about something or to get something done, but the truth is it goes through the secretary, then executive council and all of that for final approval. And who knows, it may not find favor or find favor. It depends on the particular situation. So for that, sometimes, it's a little daunting. You don't get to be passionate and get to do as you would like to do in your particular portfolio. So that is a bit daunting at times. Yeah.
I must reflect on my time when I just went in. I was an assistant secretary as well in the THA, and my approach was one day I went and talked to a secretary for some assistance in my constituency, a district of Plymouth. And the man tell me in this dismissive way, a colleague, my own colleague, I have to make an appointment. And I consider that so rude, to be quite frank.
Well, thank God I don't have that experience.
And you know what I did? I did make that didn't stop me. I developed relationships, not only with the other secretaries, but also with people in the division, the public service, public servants in those divisions, to where I used to get things done without even communicating with some of the relevant secretaries, and that is the kind of thing you have to do sometimes when you have that kind of time. Don't sit down and cry and say, well, the secretary ain't getting this from me or the secretary, you have to get
I agree with you.
do the necessary networking, make yourself available for discussion, treat them nice to show them their respect and let them see, appreciate their hard work and so on, and that moves people.
Yes, I agree with you. And I must also say that I have a wonderfully team of hardworking staff at the culture department who takes initiative. And
They're very dynamic normally.
yes, they are. And they will come and say, we have this idea, or we want to do this. And they do stuff without you even asking them. And I really appreciate that. I want to say good morning to Mr. Jesse Taylor. He's the cultural officer too at the culture department, and his team. And they are very passionate about what they do. I see where they have, I just always said the part of the backbone of this division is the culture department, because they are the face. You would see greeting the cruise ships, performing at functions and all of that. And there are times when they are there on the ground sleeping in the office because they don't want to go home because they have something else coming up in the next few hours that they have to prepare for. That is commitment without any extra remuneration and all of that. So I must commend them. They are very a passionate bunch. We are grossly short-staffed, I might add, and we want to be able to, bring on some people to help, alleviate some of the pressure they are under. I hope.
I suppose that is one of your levels of satisfaction that you're kind of proud of in
Oh,
your
yes,
division. You have
very
any other
much.
area that you're quite proud of, or you have some level of satisfaction or pleased about? Given your
The Division of
responsibility.
Tourism, I would say, is the face of the assembly, the Tourism and Culture Division. So you find that most of these activities that happens, they are the one that take the lead, whether it be jazz, whether it be heritage, whether it be independence is kind of under the office of the chief secretary, but we collaborate with them, and Republic Day and so on. It's a collaboration. The Division of Tourism and Culture is always involved
I
in
call them
whatever.
the heartbeat
Yes.
of the assembly.
Right.
The heartbeat divisions of the
Right.
assembly.
So I'm very proud of the division on its own, because we are able to, get the numbers up, people coming to the island and so on. We have been working in the background to ensure that we enhance the product that we met. And with the product that we met, if we are honest with ourselves, have been in the dungeon for some time, and they are now coming out of that. So I'm very proud of the division. Of course, there's more that can be done, bearing in mind that we met a division that was, I don't want to say rock bottom, but we had to take it from somewhere to carry it to where it should be, and we are in the process of lifting the standard of the division, right? So I'm proud of the division on the whole, right? But I'm particularly passionate about my culture staff. I will always say that, because I don't think people get to see the behind the scenes of what happened to get this product. They welcomed the president recently, and all of that. So everybody, culture is a go-to department.
Yeah, and of course, as you said, culture and antiquities part of the responsibility, yes. But you have any policy or plan or strategic approach to dealing with these things? Tobago
So
culture,
antiquities,
as it relates to antiquities and so on, it's kind of not too thing, They don't really treat these antiquities and these things in a very serious way, like other countries do.
Yeah, antiquities is
a new policy, a new approach to
element to the division. So it's just 2 years old. We have on board now technical advisor antiquities, Dr. Thomas, who is developing the policy for what we define as antiquities and how it should look, and the parameters by which we operate. We want to be able to, whether it's on a private or public property.
You consider things like written word or people's book
of course,
and so on,
yes.
part of the antiquities,
so,
right?
I will always say that antiquities is not just a physical item. It's also written.
That's
it's
right.
also
That's
how
correct.
we speak
That's
and
correct.
all of that. So barring the physical, we want to be able to document, even capture some of the so like Mr. Titus we have some information that he gave us that we would now form part of Antiquities, you know. And so we want to be able to, if there is a relic, even on private or public property, what are our boundaries, what are our parameters to say that, you know, all lands are vested in the THA, and yes, we know it's a private land, but this piece, this canon that your claim is on your property, how do we treat with it and stuff like that. So the policy is being developed now, so we will be able to know the parameters by which Antiquities takes us.
Yeah, it's a pity you all didn't think about that before, or previous administration didn't pay special attention to things like that, because especially after the scrap iron thing came about, all those things, some of those mills
Sugar
and
mill
so
and
on,
Monks and George
cannons and all sorts of things just disappeared from some of these sites.
Monks and
People
George
went in there
windmill was a victim of that. So.
Yeah.
The scrap iron industry. So, you know, there's just the base there now, and I guess because they couldn't move it, right? So we want to be able to legislate some of these. I mean, at least make suggestions for legislating.
And have them protected and secured, and do a nice history about them, and let people understand the value they contribute to economic activity then. You know, we have to go for a break, Megan, and when we come back, we continue chatting, and we look at some of the your involvement, if any, to what extent you're involved in this second edition of the Tobago Carnival. After the break. The energy filled the skies. Yes, we're back, folks, and we're talking to Assemblyman Megan Morrison, and we have about 13 more minutes before we complete this interview. And you tell us about what role you play in this second edition of the Tobago Carnival, which I understand was even better than last year, and people thought that couldn't happen, you know. But what role you played in this carnival celebration?
Well,
all the reports seem so positive and progressive.
Well, according to the young people, this carnival was a movie. Right? Carnival 2024 October was a success from all, you know, reports. The business people, you know, there were several bars and food available
at different locations.
And all reported a successful carnival. For me, carnival was the month of October, starting with the 30th of September, actually, that saw our very first event. I think Dream was the first event, and that was highly successful. And I can say that all the events for the month of October, I don't know of any that wasn't successful for the carnival period. I was part of the committee that developed Rocks Glow, that event in the East.
Call it Rocks Glow?
Yes, Rocks Glow. We had it last year. Rain fell a lot last year. Of course, we didn't have the rain so much this year, and it was a tremendous success. I remember the person operating the bar said that they had to restock 3 times. Yes. And this was a day that had 2 other major events. So we had Rocks Glow and 2 other private events on the same day, 3 events, and they were all successful. And that made me feel good, because we see the economic benefit of the carnival to the average person, right? The culture department did what we call the taste of the melting pot, which saw the traditional Tobago Carnival characters as part of the street parade of Carnival. If you go on NCC website now, they have a beautiful picture of what that traditional mass look like. And you got the response from visitors that it's authentic, they like what they see, and so on. So Carnival, from all reports, was a success. I am happy that the division was able to extend such a beautiful product to the Tobago population, to Trinidad, and to the world. And I can only see us going up from here.
Yeah, all reports it was really good and so on. You know, there are little areas that
Yes, of
I'm sure that
course.
you need some improvement.
Granted
And
that
so,
we are
and even
only in the
what was
second
big about
year.
it is the routes too.
Yes,
The route was just fabulous.
yes, and that backdrop of the sea and the stage. You know,
And
we
coming
need a
on the
bigger
highway
stage
with
on the
trees
sea.
on both sides,
Yes,
and then you swing and you go
of
down to,
course.
you
And I'm
know.
putting a plug to the Secretary of Works. We need a bigger stage because
You
we
mean
need.
a stage in the sea?
Yes,
You
we
need to
need a bigger
expand it.
stage. Yes, we do. We need a bigger stage. That stage in the sea, I think that brought uniqueness to what we offer here on the island. Because I don't know if you saw the air drone shots. We were along this beachfront, and as you said, between the trees and so on, the route was epic, you know, and well poised to showcase the island as a destination, not just for Carnival, but a destination in general. So we are in our second year. Can you imagine what this will look like in 5 years? We will rival even Trinidad.
Yeah, yeah. And as you on that quickly, what is the relationship now that's going to happen between you and the NCC in Trinidad?
Well, I don't have a problem with the NCC per se. They will do what they have to do. They had launched Carnival. They invited me. I attended. I was well received and so on. So it's just to work out if they can be a part of Tobago's Carnival without hindering the growth and development and the product that we intend to offer. We don't necessarily want
You
a
want them just to
Trinidad.
complement and not just
No,
to
no.
instruct some way of doing something or doing it
Well,
differently.
this October element of the carnival belongs to Tobago. I say that in the sense that in February it's a national carnival, where that's Trinidad and Tobago. So the October carnival, we would like to portray.
Maintain your own identity.
Yes, we would like to put out there what we would like the public to see, and we want to be able to do that without thinking that it has to be Trinidad's way or no way. No. Right? And if we get that understanding from both sides, then we can work together if necessary to develop the product. You know?
Yeah. Quickly before time run out on us, any specific project or plan that you would like to see completed before the end of your term, whether it's in your constituency or in the division as part of the strategic
I would like
plan?
to see the Antiquities unit fully built out to start to archive and register and so on some of these artifacts and relics and so on we have on the island. In my district is a whole list. I would like to see the development of Hope Field repaired. There's the Hope Bridge I would like to see replaced. But I mean, I know funding is a challenge, right? I'm going to say number 1 Village Street again because it's not much that people ask for, right? We also would like to see the Goodwood Pavilion come to a completion and the field so that the youths will be able to utilize these facilities once again. So I would like to see my facilities up and working and running so the youths can get access to these facilities.
Yeah, and people must really understand the importance of these antiquities. You know, they really have to come on board and be prepared. But you have a technical team. I know you told me about Dr. What's his name?
Dr. Thomas.
Dr. Thomas?
No,
is he alone make up the team?
He and one other person. So we actually have to build out the unit to have it staffed.
And give people a specific responsibility, not just taking on people and paying them.
Oh, no, definitely. So I'm not about just paying people. Anybody who knows me know that. If you're coming to work, it's just that. We have to work, we have to deliver.
So you would like to see that Antiquities, the build out of that project, make it more functional and make it more realistic.
Yes, that is what I would like to see before.
And I suggest that you could approach UNDP and UN cultural, there's a UN thing that you did cultural education and so on. I can't remember the acronym now, but UN has some entities that is built in to deal with such things and help fund it. You know, and help put you on the people who can guide you, provide you technical assistance to do these things. That's what I like about UN, the agencies and people like you, IDB. They're not UN, but they're part of a team that look at development in these islands and these small developing countries in a particular way, you know, and lend not only financial support, but also technical assistance.
Right.
What would you like to see change in the entire assembly, in the operations of the assembly, to make it more efficient? Or what would you like to see strengthened, separate and apart from what you just told me?
You see,
you're looking at an assembly with, I would say, maybe about 15,000 workers. I mean, are you satisfied how it functions and facilitate members of the assembly getting their work done?
The thing is, funding is the greatest challenge that we do have. While we do have a lot of personnel employed with the assembly, if we have the required funding that is necessary to develop this island of Tobago, there are people that can be moved into other areas, right? Because there are people who are technical and there are people who have their work skills and so on that are not being utilized efficiently. And if we would get additional funding, whether it be from the national budget or alternative funding, I can see where the island will be far more progressed. We want to develop Scarborough, we want to develop Tobago, we want to have a Wi-Fi island, although we have started that. I'm seeing something in the papers where the Prime Minister is now talking to that. Most of our administrative buildings are already Wi-Fi free, Wi-Fi zones. We have some of our beach facilities that have already started the process, and I think the food hub is one of those that will be Wi-Fi friendly. The process has already started. So Tobago takes the lead where those innovations and so on are concerned. I see Trinidad is now catching up. So just imagine if we had enough funding to do what we need to do on the island of Tobago. And I'm putting a plug here as well. If you go to my district, you will see the vast changes that have taken place in my district since I'm the area representative. We have roads that have been neglected for years, all patched. We have walls, retaining walls and so on. If you just take a drive through, you will see for yourself.
I saw some of that yesterday.
Yes, that have now been, is now being, there to facilitate the needs of the villagers in the various communities that have. I know there are some areas, from as far as I know myself, I wouldn't tell you my age, that there are holes there and wherever that are now patched. We don't have to swing away anymore, right? So I'm saying kudos to to my team, at my colleagues. They are working in their different spheres. We have the Division of Education doing what they do. Imagine we got some fans and so on to help with the heat and so on. We have the works doing what they're doing, the health service, the cataract surgery. We have the highest, well, not the highest, we have an increase in visitor arrival to the island from the Division of Tourism. And don't talk for the Agriculture Department. We have more initiatives than we have seen in so many years. We have the housing program coming with the Division of Settlement. The team is working, right? I just would want to see additional funding come to the island of Tobago, and you all will not see where Tobago pass in terms of development had we gotten the funding.
I kind of respectfully disagree with you a little bit on the funding issue, but I know there's need for funding, but you see, with the type of operation that we have presently, we could do so much more with less people. Or if people, in terms of the present situation, just try to do so much more. The little we have could be used to do so much more. But there's a lackadaisical attitude in the public service.
Or in general, in terms of the work ethic and so on. No, I agree with you that we lapse where some of the work ethic is concerned. I just spoke to some people from my accounts department, and they would tell you, well, I don't know if they would tell you what I told them, because I told them as it is. And of course, better can be done. I do agree with you from that perspective. But from the developmental perspective is where I spoke, right? And Tobago is so far behind in terms of development that the funding we have is a drop in the bucket to develop the island, right? Yes, I know the work ethic for the normal everyday staff, if that can be improved, we'll be far more advanced, in terms of productivity and what we can present to the island in terms of that type of development. But in terms of development on the island, we need some injections of funds, and we have to find some way to get that done.
Well, of course, you could look at some other areas,
Yes.
especially for the development side, as I suggest to you, and UNDP and some of these other places under the UN, they have funds for that kind of purpose, and other institutions as well, you know, cultural funds and so on, all over, in different parts of the world.
Yes.
And we feel that the division and the THA can benefit from those things as well. The central government do in some of those ministries capitalize on that. But we want to, before we close, I must ask you, are you considering serving about 2 terms or 3 terms in the Tobago House of Assembly? And may continue making this great contribution?
Mr. McFarlane, I will serve whether I'm in political life or not. That is the person I am. So me serving a 2nd term or a 3rd term is irrelevant at this point. At this point, it's just to get the work done and to see how much people we can help, how much families we can help. As a result, helping the island of Tobago develop and grow to the place it needs to be. So I will serve regardless.
Yeah, so if you've been asked to contest again and you're successful, you don't mind going on until
No,
maybe...
I wouldn't be continue all that time in in the active political life. 3 and 4 times, no, I don't think so. Maybe a 2nd time, but I will help who succeeds me, and
and regardless of the party.
Regardless, because I have been doing it all the time, and there was another party in operation, so I will help regardless. My life is service to the people.
Yeah. And what message you want to send to young people who may want to get involved in politics or want to serve the community or do just like what you're doing, you know, regardless of what party in office, you know, you just continue to serve, be of assistance. I left politics in 1996, I think, and so on. And every assembly after that always asking me to do something or helping them with something. Every single administration. After that, whether they were PNM, you had 20-something years at the PNM, and so on, every one of the administrators and the chief secretary always asking me to help them with something, you know, and that is my life. Regardless of what party you're from and so on, you know. And I have some very good friends who are members of the PNM, and very good friends who are part of the new administration here as well, you know. We never fall out or vex. We give each other picong and so on, you know, election time and so on, you know. But, you know, we just have to see the bigger picture. And country and island come first. And if we have to do something about making this little island the best on the planet, we have to start to develop some ideals and some processes and provide people with a passion for want to do things and want to volunteer and want to contribute, you know. And that is what we have to drive.
Yes, I want the young people to realize they need to think big. Thinking and early morning work is not. Come up with something, some innovation, something new that you can see where 10 years down the road how this will make a difference for your community and your island. The political part of it is just another element of it, right? Because there are business people who are into politics and so on. So, if you're into politics, understand that it's about service to the people. It's not about any financial gain, because if it's financial gain, trust me, I'm in the wrong place, because, you know, the salary is not what people think it is, and whatever salary you have, most time it goes back to your community. So it's about developing yourself, developing your community, subsequently developing your island by contributing diligently to whatever fears you're in, whether it be business, whether it be your person. You're on a desk, do the work to the best of your ability. Another desk, someone is absent, ask how I can help, you know, in order to get the thing moving and to get the island develop as a result of your personal contribution.
Yeah, and we really have to be thinking that way. And Tobagonians, you know, you have to be more business-like. And we're not just talking about the public service. I'll come a little bit back to that again. General, people have to be more business-like and, you know, steadfast and don't, you know, we have some people in our community sometimes that's very negative. Oh, what are they fighting up with that for? There's no need to do that. That could stay so. What do you think it is? You know,
Yes.
you have to find a way to get over these negative things and think positive and so on. If I used to listen to some of the people who tell me negative things that couldn't be done in my personal life, I tell you, I don't know where the hell I would be there today. You know, you just have to find ways to overcome them. Just take these as a drive to listen. I ain't gonna let that disgusting negative idea keep me back. I know I'm pushing forward.
Yes,
you know,
definitely.
and that had to be the attitude to people. We can't just sit back too and allow for assembly people, assembly persons, elected people to die for them to do. You know, we have to be a part of the whole process. You know, as citizens and as taxpayers. You know, we have to try and do things differently and let the people who we serve or the people we put there to serve us in a very efficient and proud manner.
Yes, definitely.
So we have a lot to do in terms of the public service. And I was talking to a senior public servant recently, and they're telling me about they trying to put up some public service committee to look at doing some things to reform the public service. I say, my dear, what a thing. You have the public service in this state and you're having a public service committee to reform the public service. I say, oh, geez and ages. So we have a lot of things to do.
Yes.
And so on. But what message you have for these young people and the public servants really, too, to help them to change their psyche, their approach, do business, operate business like yourself, praise and accommodate people, let them be the best they can be, let them be more accountable. What message you have for them?
I just want people to stay motivated, right? Think about the other person. Imagine a man coming from Charlottesville and he came to the office and you tell him that he had to wait 48 hours for a job letter, when you of yourself know that you can go on the system and make the changes.
Tell me this thing.
And you asking that person to come back. We just have to be about, just think about it, put yourself in the person's position. Just do that. And I think if we do that, we will understand that what we don't want for ourselves, we shouldn't want it for anybody else. Imagine you have an urgent business to do. And that person has an appointment. They just found out. They need your help to get that. And we had and fast. Come back in 48 hours. Mind you, that isn't written anywhere. I'm saying that publicly. 48 hours for a job letter isn't written anywhere. Someone came up with that.
The psyche of the public service.
Somebody came up with that.
Pressure on them. Let them wait.
Right? And we have to come out of that mentality. We are here to serve the people as public servants, as public officials, as public officers. And if we try to put ourselves in person's position, we will understand that, you know, this person needs the help. Let us do our best. It is in our powers, it's in our hands to do. Let us do it to the best of our ability. The Bible spoke about it, right? Be your brother's keeper. Because I have the key to a facility, I have to pressure you? No. Because you have the key, you do go out of your way to ensure that people get the service. That is the mentality we should have. And that is what I would like to put out there. Right? Put ourselves in other people's shoes. Try to stay motivated. I know some people have their personal challenges and all that. I take all of that into consideration. I would also like to shout out my district team, headed by Mr. Smith. I also have Afisha Irving there. I have Emanuela there. And Dale Lovelace is part of my team. And, you know, I want to say a special good morning to my district team. They are very hardworking. Sometimes when I'm not there, they have to face the public to give a response and so on. So I appreciate them very much. I would also like to say look out for Christmas activities that will come on soon. We have a lighting up of the district office on the 2nd of December. Come out and have some hops and ham with us. And we have our children's Christmas event that will come off on the 10th of December. You have to register from tomorrow. You can start calling the district office to register your child. And those are just some of the activities that we offer in our district in June. 19 Labor Day, we have our car meet and fun day annual every year. We have our we have roving days where we go to the different districts and so on and set up a tent and get to hear from you. So my district is one that I like to say we are the social team, right? We have a soup kitchen that we run every now and again, and all of that.
Like
this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Couple more Megan Morrisons, but
well, there's only one of me.
yeah. But thank you very much.
Yes.
But before we go, we really want to express some sadness and ask people to pray for some special prayers to Hochoy Charles. He was the first chief secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. I mean, before that, remember, we had chairman and so on. But he's really going through a trying time right now. I understand he's now in Trinidad at one of the health institutions. And we ask you to remember him in your prayers and reflect on some of the valuable contributions he gave and he made for this Tobago House of Assembly to reach where it is as an institution and to do some of the things that he did during those times, some of which were, or some people will say, were against the law, but you had to do it that way in that time, else you got nowhere at all. So we must remember him. Yes. And of course, we want to extend condolences again to people like Carlos Dillon, who passed, and one of the icons of the tourism sector in Trinidad and Tobago. We really regret his passing after surgery. You don't want to talk too much about that part. But it's really an icon, and he'll be surely missed. Yes. And I also hurt because I spoke to him just a few days after the surgery, not hearing from him for a while, and then suddenly you're hearing this thing, But anyway, we all have to go this way at some point in time. So while we're here and we have good breath and so on and good health, let us take these opportunities or these moments to do more for ourselves or family or community and this beautiful island so that we can be the best little island on the planet. Megan Morrison, thank you very much for coming.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, it really was a pleasure, and you set a high standard for the others to follow in the coming, other members of the Assembly to follow.
They can handle just fine. I'm not worried at all.
So take care, have a blessed day, and congratulations to all the things that you have done, making the society a much better place.
Thank you.
So take care. Folks, this brings us to the end of the program for this morning. Thank you for all those visitors, those people viewing, those online. I see so much messages coming to my phone already, and so on. We thank you for your support and suggestions and advice, and so on. I have a good friend, Barry Joe Field in Trinidad. He's really magnificent in, putting on some ideas and some suggestions. Thank you, Barry, publicly. People like Alan Crooks and so on. Thank you all very much. You all have been you're very supportive in many of the things that I do. Appreciate your comments and your suggestions. Take care. Have a blessed day, folks. Tomorrow we have Joel Sampson. Yes, tomorrow we have Joel Sampson. Join us at 8 o'clock. This dynamic young man from the Crown Point area. We have a lot of questions to answer. We see you then tomorrow morning, God's willing. Take care, folks. Take care, folks.